Bro, what's going on in Minnesota right now should make your blood boil.
Child care?
Which child care means a lot of
Minnesota Child Care right here. It's from the state of Minnesota's website. We're just wondering where the children are.
where the children are.
Yeah, where are the children? It says you have 102 children here, and you got $2.66 million this year in funding, and $2.5 million last year. We're just wondering where the kids are.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley.
And where are you? Which department? That is harassment.
Oh, we are from ourselves.
Yeah.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. Look at that. Shut us down. Where are the children at? No children inside of this daycare center. And look at this daycare center right here. No children inside of this daycare center. But between those buildings, over $2.6 million. So what do you think about this daycare center? They spelled learning wrong. They've received over $1.9 million this year alone, and they're supposed to have 99 children here.
I don't see it.
99 children.
Have you ever seen any children here?
None, not at all.
This year they got 1.9 million. Last year they got 1.5 million of your tax money for 99 children. We just want to know where are the kids.
I've been here since 2017. I haven't seen anybody like
Never
that
seen
here.
a child here.
No, not at all.
And how does that make you feel knowing that this place is receiving
Disgusting.
$1.9 million?
Disgusting. I mean, what the hell? They stealing the money. That's a federal grant too. That's, if they get caught for that's a federal offense.
And do you think Tim Waltz should go to jail for all the fraud that he's enabled here in his state?
That's him doing this? What the heck yeah.
They even spelled learning wrong on their sign for a place that's supposed to be educating children.
That's crazy. Who runs it? Who supposedly runs it?
Somalians.
Oh my God.
So this daycare center is literally just a place to traffic money. $1.9 million just this year alone. And this guy's been living here for 8 years and has never seen a single child walk through those doors.
Are we even surprised at this point? And how has this been going on for this long? Tim Waltz, Elon Omar, and many in the Somalian community in Minnesota have some explaining to do. These daycares with no children in them, these healthcare buildings with no patients in them, how do empty buildings get approval? And how do fake numbers get paid out? And credit to Nick Shirley for doing the legwork. He worked with a local named David in Minnesota who's been tracking this information for years. And sadly, this older gentleman who's been doing this research for his community has gotten attacked by Somalians for just asking simple questions. Totally valid questions to ask, mind you. Where are all these children in the daycares? Where are the patients in the healthcare buildings? So upon investigating, Nick and David accumulated an amount of over $100 million potentially in fraud by these Somalian people. And Nick and David emphasize Somalians because they are literally in the label of ownership under these licensed buildings. Check out the video under Nick Shirley's most recent video on YouTube. It'll be interesting to see how this unravels because I know Tim Waltz, Elon Omar, and so many Somalians will just dismiss this and throw it under the rug when, mind you, one of the biggest frauds in US history through Somalians, mind you, in America. But yeah, people will just slap on the label of racist if anyone draws attention to it.
So you mean to tell me you went all the way to Minnesota just to pocket watch? And then on top of that, put out misinformation? But that's what I'll be saying, like, bro, like, y'all say, like, this is getting out of hand, bro. We will not accept this. We will not tolerate this in the state of Somalia. I'm sick of these people, bro. I'm sick and tired of them, bro. That they stay hating on us, bro. For what, bro? Like, leave us alone.
Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about fraud in Minnesota. A daycare that is supposed to care for children and the entire community is now under inspection. This is not a fictional story. This is happening right now in Minnesota. It all started with one shocking revelation. A daycare business owned by a member of the Somali community in Minnesota has been exposed for allegedly fraud. The buildings are empty. There are no children, yet millions of dollars and tax-paid money have been flowing into these businesses, meant for the kids, meant for the care, and meant for the development of the community. How could this happen? In today's video, you're going to break down how this scandal came to light and why Black Americans are calling for the Somali-run businesses in Minnesota to face the same level of inspection, and what this means for the future and trust between immigrations and Black communities in the US. But beyond the scandal, The headline, this issue goes deeper. I'll be back with more videos. Stay tuned.
Where are the children at that are supposedly in all of these Somalian daycares? Yeah, you got some daycares reporting 74 kids, 105, this, that, and the other. But they have, like, none. Like, no children. But they're receiving over $1 million, $2 million a year in funding. Where are these kids at? And then you're getting pissed off when you got people coming, giving them questions about it. Shut them motherfuckers down.
Proud to be a freeloader. I get everything for free while you work 50 hours a week. Ha ha, boo boo. Somalians is taking
healthcare companies, but they don't seem to want new clients. They want to turn away possible clients. Why might that be? It seems like a grift. Seems like they're receiving money while not providing services, and they don't want people to find out. And what's even more crazy is it seems like they come from another country, take advantage of our taxpayers, game and manipulate our system to enrich themselves. I have never seen so many people not want business. Like, it doesn't make sense. Well, it doesn't make sense if you're a true, honest business who wants to make more money and grow your business. It does make sense if your business is just a front for sucking money from the government. Musk posted this on X and seems to make some sense. The radical left has been using fraudulent government programs for a long time to import and retain vast numbers of illegal and illegal, in some cases, immigrants to win elections and turn America into a single-party state, destroying any real democracy. The more you look at it, the more you will be horrified at what your tax money is doing and the fact that if this is not reversed, your vote will mean nothing. The most obvious case example is a Somali voting bloc in Minnesota, a state that historically had 0 Somalis electing Ilhan Omar to the US Congress. The same is happening in Europe, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. And if you think about it, that might be why one of the reasons Democrats are fighting Trump enforcing federal immigration laws so hard. So yeah, anyway, that's all I got.
If you guys have not seen the reporting that Nick Shirley released today on the Somali fraud ring up in Minnesota, just go check. First of all, Nick Shirley deserves an award for this. This is great reporting. Second of all, we the people need answers. Nick Shirley found $110 million in fraud in one day of investigative reporting up there in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. One day, $110 million in fraud. Daycare centers that were completely empty and had never had children in them. They were getting like a couple of million of taxpayer funds a year. And all of this was being funneled back to freaking Somalia. And all the state Democrats are completely complicit in allowing this to happen because those people, the fraudsters, the Somali fraudsters, vote them in and keep them in office. We need answers on this. This is one of the biggest scandals in U.S. history. Import a voting bloc that will keep you in power and then look the other way while they commit massive, massive amounts of fraud, massive billions and billions of dollars in fraud to fund foreign government and a possible FTO over there in Somalia. So if you haven't seen it yet, go take a look. It's Nick Shirley. It's 40 minutes long. And all I can say is I can't wait for the hearings.
It raises serious questions about accountability and whether they are truly holding all the communities to ever be heard in the same expressions like this. This is more than just fraud. This is about fairness, justice, and what it means to build a community that can trust and support one another regardless of race and backgrounds. This intro not only sets up the story, but also creates sense of urgency by discussing the Somali daycare, and it appears to both Western and Black American audiences by focusing on trust, accountability, and justice. For years, Minnesota has been held up as a model, a social investment place, where public programs are meant to protect the vulnerable. Billions of taxpayer dollars, promises of opportunities, trust in the system. In this video, we are talking about documented fraud cases tied up to Minnesota. A public assistance programs cases that investigators caught and public records have been brought to light. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more.
I have a question for you. If there was a black community that had stolen over $1 billion from our federal government or our state government, what would happen to them? If people in Oak Cliff, Texas, which is made of mostly of minorities, black people and Hispanic people, what would happen to them? Do you think that anyone in our government would let them go for decades, stealing from Medicaid and Medicare to the level that we've seen Somalis do it in Minnesota? So for all of the people that are saying this is a racial situation, let me tell you what racism would have done to this. It is no way that they would have let communities steal millions of dollars and billions of dollars in programs that were meant for autistic children, or programs that were meant to feed people when they said they were feeding 3,000 people a day and they only saw 24. They would not have allowed this to happen if these people were regular Americans, if these were regular African Americans or regular Hispanic Americans. This would not have happened in our United States. But our Democrat Party wants you to believe that this is a racial situation because, that's what they do. Everything is based on race. But let me just say this, from this one black woman, I have seen people in Dallas and all over Texas go to jail for $35,000 in theft. But the thing that gets me the most about all of this fraud and corruption that's going on in Minnesota is the attitudes of the people involved. The people that live in all of these communities, these Somalis, are now threatening Americans. They're not even telling us that they're going to take over the United States.
As soon as we find out who you are, trust you will be dealt with. Period.
All of you people that have made comments about it's just racist, really, let me just tell you something. I don't care what race you are. If all of my cousins are stealing from me, I'm going to be mad at my cousins and I'm going to call the police.
Wow, if you haven't seen this series of videos from Nick Shirley, you need to watch it. The corruption is unreal. Not only the Somalis were committing SNAP fraud, Medicare fraud, and fraud with the Feed Your Children NGO, but they're also opening up daycares, getting all this money from the state of Minnesota and federal money, and no kids there. There is zero daycare children care provided at all. And all that money that they get from the state and federal money, it's all to provide the free daycare or daycare assistant families that need it. So they're getting all this money with the pretense that they're taking care of 90 plus children, and they're not. And just like the autism scam that they did, they are probably making up these children's names that they're allegedly taking care of, but they're not. And just telling the state that they're taking care of all these kids, and they're not. Wow, and that's just in Minneapolis. I can imagine the rest of the United States, honestly. My guess is that the fraud goes as far as like $1 trillion. If you count, like the United States, all the states.
Where are the handcuffs, bro? Where are the handcuffs? We want handcuffs on the mayor. We want handcuffs on Ilhan Omar. Yeah, you a part of that. You're a part of that. I don't care what anybody says. Ilhan Omar hands is all through there. And then this guy, Tim Walz, we want all of them in cuffs right now. Like right now. Why they're not in cuffs? Y'all gave 1.9 million to a daycare, and they spelled luring. Who was the Staples that made that banner? Who was the Staples? They was probably laughing when they made that banner. Luring. 1.9 million going to a daycare with no kids in there. There's no kids. Bro, can we audit all our blue states, bro? Can we just audit all the blue states? I don't know what the red states got going on, but I know for one thing for sure, we are in a $2 billion deficit again in Maryland. Westmore is doing something with that money. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something with that money. And can y'all believe that this guy was going to be our vice president? Can y'all imagine the backdoor deals he was going to do? Oh my goodness, bro. Bro. Lock them up, bro. Lock them up.
Guys, this 23-year-old journalist just exposed more fraud than any mainstream media outlet ever could. Shirley just went to Minnesota, and what he discovered is rocking the country. And guess what? MSNBC and CNN and those outlets, they're not reporting it. I suggest you go watch the video, but here are the cliff notes. For 30 years, Democrats have kept over 150,000 Somali nationals parked in temporary protected status, all while a Minnesota-based Somali social services laundering machine allegedly stole up to $9 billion worth of federal and state programs. And they funneled huge chunks of that stolen money out in remittances, basically sending suitcases full of cash back to Somalia, and some of that American taxpayer money ended up in the hands of terrorists. Shirley goes to Minnesota to expose how they're laundering the money, and it's insane. No cars parked in the lots, and there was not a child in sight. Yet every year, these centers are receiving over $1 million a pop, and when the owners were confronted, the Somalis shut Nick and his helper down. This is money laundering. They counted $20 million in fraud just in the first couple hours. And then they went to the Somali-run healthcare centers. One center, for instance, had 14 different healthcare companies in one building. In another building, there were 22 different home care providers. So after being escorted out by police for harassing these Somali employees of these made-up companies, Nick noted that the fraud estimate was at $100 million. That's your hard-earned taxpayer dollars being absolutely wasted. The helper says that Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, burned through $24 billion federal dollars in 2 years. The state is now in a $6 billion deficit. That's almost entirely because of all the fraud. So just so we're clear, billions of taxpayer dollars are being funneled into Minnesota through federal and state welfare and social programs. Federal dollars just means money taken in by Washington through taxes and then spent back out through federal programs and grants. So it's not just Minnesotans' tax dollars being wasted. All of us pay into that federal pot. So your money, you in Florida or Texas, your money could be sent to a Minnesotan daycare that doesn't exist, and then that money ends up in the hands of Somali scammers so that they can afford luxury cars, homes, and accessories. And the Somali community is so tight-knit that they can keep all of this hush-hush. It's a secret operation that's been going on for 30 years, and people are so afraid of being called racist that they don't speak out. And the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, has overseen all of this, and he's guilty of two things: failing to report the misuse of public funds and the misconduct of a public employee. Twin Cities is ground zero for fraud. It is probably worse than anywhere else in the country. So, insane stuff. Great job, Nick. Everyone go follow his channel, share his stuff. Help expose this abysmal fraud. Let's get Tim Walz fired and put these criminals behind bars. No more!
And yes, some of these cases involve individuals within the Somali community. This is not about blaming people. This is not about culture. And definitely this is not about hate. This is about fraud that actually happens, but who get the hurt most. And why black and working class communities across America pay the price when accountability disappears. Because every dollar that's stolen from the public programs is a dollar not going to school, is a dollar not going to healthcare, and definitely is a dollar not going to families that genuinely needs it. And when the system is abused, it does not only damages the budget, it fuels the backlash, cuts the service, and deepens the mistrust towards the community that had nothing to do with the crime. Many Somalis families arrived fleeing civilian wars, and instability in Minnesota became a hope. Investment refugee programs, access to social services, meant to help families to stabilize. And when system fails, vulnerable children and working class taxpayers. Investigations target specific individuals and entities, not the whole communities. Portrayal of families who actually needs childcare. Black communities often experience intense inspection over public assistance, harsh penalties for minor violation. Fraud occurred, the biggest failure, when money meant for children is involved. Everyone deserves an answer, because that's people's hard work. People are working hard there. They have sleepless nights to work hard for their families. And yet, people are busy stealing millions of dollars there. It's not fair, guys. You can spell the word learning well. That's a disappointment. It only took a young man called Nick Shirley, a YouTuber, to expose everything that was going on there. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't know what's going on. They would continue stealing, and who knows for how long they have been stealing money. Those individuals, they should be arrested. The government should be careful not to give out money without investigations, not blaming the entire community and blaming those specific individuals. They are ruining everything for everyone. Some of those individuals, they don't work. They don't know how to work hard. All they know is about sleep. And yet they drive expensive cars. They have big houses, expensive houses. They live a good life, while others are suffering, those who actually need the money, who knew their lifestyle is founded by fraud activities. Government should be careful to not let this happen, and they should be grateful. Not everyone gets that opportunity to travel and go and work hard for their family. They should be grateful for the opportunities they were given. Thank you everyone for watching my video. Let me know in the comments what you think about this video. Subscribe to my channel, like and share. See you on my next video, guys.